Most people who say they lack confidence, which was me about 10 years ago, by the way, don't actually lack confidence. They're just trying to find it in the wrong place. They're trying to find it from armor rather than their roots. In this next 5 minutes, I'm going to explain to you with some light Jungian psychology how we can find confidence from who we really are, or the self, rather than who we think we should be, the ego or the mask. And hopefully it will really help you apply this in your business, in your relationships, and every aspect of your life. Let's just take a moment to define the ego and the self and why you should care and how it might help you. So the ego is your constructed self, what you constructed when you were younger and as you grew up, and in certain contexts, work situations, it's what sometimes we call it the mask or the persona. It's the way that you survive, the way that you are showing up in the world that's not really you, but it's you think it's necessary. You think that your parents wanted you to be like this, or perhaps it wasn't their fault. Perhaps work contexts, schooling wanted you to be a certain way. And if you're trying to be confident from that place, it's not really the true you. Of course, you're going to feel unconfident because it's not really who you are. But imagine if you could understand who you are at the core, your truth, including your vulnerabilities, your weaknesses, your strengths, your gifts, your shadows, and then show up in the world from that place, which Jung called the true self. Now, this is not easy, by the way. I'm not saying it is. It's actually a deep journey. But imagine if you could have a role that you played in your life, like your career, that allowed you just to be your true self and not to be the constructed self. Then you would feel a lot more confident in who you were. That doesn't mean you feel confident to do everything. Like, for example, I'm not confident to do YouTube videos because I'm just a beginner, but I'm confident in my ability to learn. As long as I show up as my true self, I will learn the skills. A lot of people end up in a career that is close to something that might use their true self, but really it looks like the thing, but it isn't the thing. And you end up having to have a very thick mask and armor to manage that career. Ego confidence is like armor in that it's trying to protect you. It needs a lot of validation. It looks like I need to be right. I need to be competent. I need to be winning here. And the moment someone criticizes that, it is pierced very easily, or the mask can fall off. And that's where we feel like it crumbles. And that's why a lot of outwardly confident people that are trying to manage an image are actually privately really anxious about who they are, because they haven't found out who they are, because they're trying to build the armor of the ego and actually they haven't gone on the inner journey. And maintaining that armor that needs constant validation and praise is exhausting. So true self-confidence, self with a capital S, is like the roots. It doesn't need to shine. You know what you're good at. You know who you are. You've integrated the shadow, which basically means all the things that you repress. You've shone a light on them and you've accepted them. You lean into your weaknesses. You know what you're good at. You know what you're not. You know who you are. You know who you aren't. And then this idea of your confidence being shattered by failure or feedback, it doesn't happen so much. This is a continual work in progress for me, and everyone who says they're self-confident is probably a continual work in progress. So the question is, how can we be more of our true self and less of the armored self? Obviously, this is a huge psychological question and one we haven't got time for in this little 5-minute video, but I'll give you a little exercise that might take you a step closer. Write down on a piece of paper all the things that you absolutely love without having to justify them, and all the things that you think you're really good at. Maybe think back to your childhood. I'm thinking right now of martial arts for me, playing the drums, running outside, and coaching people without really knowing it, teaching. This is like true self territory for me. What are those things for you? And then the real question is, How could you do more of those things in your life? Maybe recreationally at first, but then how could you build a career? Like for me, transformational coaching does not feel like a job. It just feels innately like who I am. So I can be confident in that because it's who I truly am. So that is the bigger question here. How can you make a life where you can be yourself, and the relationships that you're in, you can be yourself, and the work that you're in, you can be yourself? That's the big question. There is one paradox here, though. When you actually illuminate and be your true self, your egoic self is like, who the hell is that? You actually can feel really awkward showing up with your true self. So if you feel quite icky about showing your true self, it's actually a reverse indicator that you're going in the right direction. I'll save that for another video.